Hey there, you looking kinda cute. Don't forget to subscribe and check out my other socials for more. Enjoy. As spring turned to summer, Riley found herself settling into a new rhythm. The constant sense of displacement that had plagued her in the early days of her transition began to fade, replaced by a growing acceptance of her new reality. She still had moments of doubt and dysphoria, of course. There were days when she looked in the mirror and felt a disconnect between her inner self and her outer appearance. But those moments became less frequent and less intense as time went on. One significant turning point came when Riley decided to join a support group for transgender and gender nonconforming youth. She'd been hesitant at first, feeling like an imposter given the unusual circumstances of her transition, but her therapist had gently encouraged her to give it a try. The first meeting was nerve-wracking. Riley sat quietly, listening as others shared their stories. She was struck by the diversity of experiences. Some had known from a young age that they were trans, others had come to the realization later in life. Some were fully out and transitioning, others were still exploring their identities. When it came time for Riley to introduce herself, she took a deep breath and shared a condensed version of her story. To her surprise and relief, she was met with understanding and support. No one questioned the validity of her identity or experience.
"Transition is transition," one group member said kindly. "However you got here, you're one of us now. If you want to be, that is."
Riley felt tears prick at her eyes. For the first time, she truly felt like she belonged somewhere in this new world she'd found herself in. The support group became a valuable resource for Riley. She learned about different aspects of living as a transgender person. Everything from navigating legal name changes to dealing with dysphoria. More importantly, she found a community of people who understood what she was going through in a way that even her most supportive friends and family couldn't quite manage. Through the group, Riley also began to explore aspects of femininity that she'd been hesitant to embrace before. One of the other girls, Jade, took Riley under her wing, offering to give her a feminine crash course, as she called it. Jade taught Riley about makeup beyond the basics she'd learned from her mother, showing her how to create different looks for different occasions. They went shopping together, with Jade encouraging Riley to try styles she might have shied away from on her own. "Fashion is all about expressing yourself," Jade explained as Riley eyed a bright floral dress dubiously. "It doesn't matter if it's traditionally feminine or masculine or whatever. If you like it and it makes you feel good, that's what matters." Slowly but surely, Riley began to develop her own sense of style. She found she enjoyed mixing traditionally feminine pieces with more androgynous ones, flowy tops paired with ripped jeans, delicate jewelry accenting sporty outfits. It was a physical representation of the way she was learning to blend the different aspects of herself. As Riley grew more comfortable in her identity, she also began to rediscover old passions and explore new ones. Her love for sports hadn't diminished, but she had to approach them differently now. She took Megan's advice and tried out for the girls' volleyball team, making it as a reserve player. The team dynamic was different from what she was used to, but Riley found she enjoyed the camaraderie among her female teammates. There was a supportiveness and openness that she hadn't always experienced on boys' teams. She also discovered new interests. On a whim, she signed up for an art class and found she had a talent for painting. The act of creating something beautiful became a form of therapy for her, a way to express emotions she sometimes struggled to put into words. One afternoon, as Riley was working on a particularly challenging piece in the art room after school, her teacher, Miss Reeves, stopped to observe her work. "This is really coming along nicely, Riley," Miss Reeves commented. "You have a good eye for color and composition." Riley smiled, pleased by the praise. "Thanks. I'm still figuring it out, but I'm really enjoying it." Miss Reeves nodded thoughtfully. "You know, we have a mural project coming up for the school's LGBTQ+ Alliance. We're looking for student artists to contribute. Would you be interested?" Riley hesitated.
She'd been keeping a low profile when it came to LGBTQ+ issues at school, still unsure how to navigate that aspect of her identity. But the idea of creating art for a cause she was now personally connected to was appealing. "I'd like that," she said finally. "If you think I'm good enough." Miss Reeves squeezed her shoulder. "More than good enough. And Riley, I just want you to know how impressed I've been with how you've handled everything this year. It takes a lot of courage to be true to yourself." Riley felt a warmth bloom in her chest at the unexpected words of support. "Thank you," she said softly. "That means a lot." As she packed up her art supplies later, Riley reflected on how far she'd come. A year ago, the idea of being involved with anything LGBTQ+ related would have seemed absurd to her. Now it felt like a natural extension of who she was becoming. The mural project became a turning point for Riley. As she worked alongside other student artists, she found herself opening up more about her experiences. To her surprise, many of her peers were genuinely interested and supportive. One day, as they were taking a break from painting, a freshman named Sam approached Riley hesitantly. "Can I ask you something?" they said nervously. "How did you know? How did you figure out your gender identity?" Riley considered the question carefully. "Well, my situation was pretty unique," she began, "but I think the most important thing was learning to listen to myself, to pay attention to what felt right and what didn't, you know?" Sam nodded, looking thoughtful. "Yeah, I think I get that. I've been questioning some things lately, and it's all so confusing." Riley felt a surge of empathy. "It can be really overwhelming," she agreed. "But you don't have to have it all figured out right away. It's okay to explore and take your time." As she spoke, Riley realized how much she'd internalized these lessons over the past year. She'd come so far from the confused and angry person she'd been after her transformation. The conversation with Sam sparked something in Riley. She began to see that her unique experience gave her a perspective that could be valuable to others. With encouragement from her support group and the school counselor, she started speaking more openly about her journey. As the school year drew to a close, Riley faced another milestone, her first summer as a girl. The prospect of swimsuits and beach days brought a fresh wave of anxiety, but she was determined not to let fear hold her back. With support from her mother and friends, Riley found a swimsuit she felt comfortable in, a cute tankini that provided coverage while still feeling feminine. The first time she wore it to the local pool was nerve-wracking, but as she splashed and played with her friends, she forgot to be self-conscious. It was Tyler who pointed it out later as they were drying off. "You seem happier lately," he observed. "More comfortable in your own skin." Riley considered this. "I think I am," she said slowly. "It's like I'm finally figuring out how all the pieces of me fit together, the old and the new." Tyler grinned. "Good. It suits you." As summer progressed, Riley found herself embracing new experiences with an open mind. She went to her first slumber party, giggling with Megan and other girls as they painted each other's nails and talked about crushes. She learned to appreciate the freedom of sundresses on hot days and the satisfaction of mastering the perfect messy bun, but she also held on to parts of her old self. She still loved video games and action movies. She spent afternoons shooting hoops with Tyler and teaching her little cousin how to throw a perfect spiral. One particularly memorable day came when Riley's father hesitantly asked if she wanted to work on the car with him, something they'd often done together before her transition. Riley agreed eagerly, touched by the olive branch. As they worked side by side, the initial awkwardness faded. Riley's hands might have been smaller now, but they were still deft and capable. Her father's instructions were the same as they'd always been, his patience unwavering as he guided her through the intricacies of the engine. "Hand me that socket wrench, would you?" he asked, his voice muffled as he leaned deeper into the car's innards. Riley reached for the tool, the familiar weight of it comforting in her hand. She passed it to her father, their fingers brushing briefly.
For a moment, she was transported back to countless summer afternoons spent just like this, learning the ins and outs of mechanics at her father's side. "Thanks, kiddo," he said, the old nickname slipping out naturally. Riley felt a lump form in her throat. It was such a small thing, but it meant the world to her. Her father might still be struggling to fully understand her new identity, but in this moment, she was just his child again. Learning, growing, sharing a passion. They worked in companionable silence for a while, the only sounds the clink of metal on metal and the occasional grunt of effort. As her father emerged from under the hood, wiping his hands on a rag, Riley gathered her courage. "Dad?" she ventured. "Thanks for this, for including me. I've missed this." Her father's eyes met hers, a flicker of emotion passing across his weathered face. "I've missed it too," he admitted gruffly. He hesitated, then added, "You're still a natural at this, you know. Some things don't change, I guess." Riley felt a warmth bloom in her chest at the unexpected compliment. "I had a good teacher," she replied softly. Her father cleared his throat, clearly emotional, but trying to hide it. "Well, we better get cleaned up. Your mother will have a fit if we track grease all over the house." As they headed inside, Riley felt a shift in their relationship. It wasn't a complete resolution of the tension that had existed since her transition, but it was a start. A foundation they could build on. The rest of the summer passed in a blur of new experiences and rediscovered joys. Riley found herself looking forward to the upcoming school year with a mix of excitement and apprehension. She'd made so much progress, but there were still challenges ahead. One evening, as the first hints of autumn crept into the air, Riley sat on the back porch, lost in thought. The sound of the screen door opening pulled her from her reverie. She looked up to see her mother stepping out, 2 steaming mugs in hand. "Thought you might like some hot chocolate," her mother said, offering Riley one of the mugs. "You looked like you were thinking deep thoughts out here." Riley accepted the mug gratefully, inhaling the rich, comforting scent. "Thanks, Mom. I was just reflecting, I guess, on everything that's happened this past year." Her mother settled into the chair beside her, a knowing look in her eyes. "It's been quite a journey, hasn't it?" Riley nodded, taking a sip of her cocoa. "That's an understatement," she said with a wry smile. "Sometimes I still can't believe this is my life now. But then other times, it feels like I've always been Riley, you know?" Her mother reached out, squeezing her hand gently. "You've always been you, sweetheart. The package might have changed, but the essence of who you are, your kindness, your determination, your spirit, that's always been there." Riley felt tears prick at her eyes, touched by her mother's words. "I couldn't have done any of this without you, Mom. You've been my rock through all of it." Her mother's eyes glistened with unshed tears of her own. "Oh, honey, that's what mothers are for. We adapt, we learn, we grow alongside our children. And let me tell you, you've taught me so much this year." They sat in comfortable silence for a while, sipping their hot chocolate and watching the stars emerge in the darkening sky. Riley felt a sense of peace settle over her. The road ahead might still have its bumps, but she knew she had the strength to face whatever came her way. As the last rays of sunlight faded, Riley turned to her mother with a smile. "Hey, Mom, want to help me pick out my first day of school outfit? I'm thinking maybe that blue dress we got last week." Her mother's face lit up at the invitation. "I'd love to," she said warmly. "And maybe we can do something fun with your hair, too." Riley nodded, feeling a flutter of excitement in her stomach. Sounds perfect. As they headed inside, arm in arm, Riley felt a surge of gratitude for how far she'd come and the support system that had helped her get there. Whatever the future held, she was ready to face it, as Riley, as a daughter, as a friend, and as herself. The new school year brought its own set of challenges and triumphs. Riley walked through the doors on the first day with her head held high, the blue dress swishing around her knees and her hair styled in soft waves. She'd opted for minimal makeup, just a touch of mascara and tinted lip balm, feeling more confident in her natural appearance than she had months ago. As she made her way to her locker, Riley caught sight of her reflection in a classroom window. The girl staring back at her was familiar now. Still a work in progress, perhaps, but undeniably herself. She smiled, straightening her shoulders. "Looking good, Cooper," a voice called out. Riley turned to see Megan approaching, a grin on her face. "Love the dress. First day of school, part 2. You ready for this?" Riley took a deep breath, letting it out slowly. "As ready as I'll ever be," she replied. Megan looped her arm through Riley's as they walked down the hallway together. "You've got this," she said confidently. "And hey, if anyone gives you any trouble, just remember, you've got an entire squad of badass volleyball players ready to back you up." Riley laughed, grateful for her friend's unwavering support. As they entered their first class, she felt a mix of nerves and determination. This was her chance for a fresh start, to fully embrace her identity without the awkwardness of mid-year transitions. The day progressed better than Riley had dared to hope. There were still a few curious glances and whispered conversations, but for the most part, her classmates seemed to have accepted her as she was. In fact, several people went out of their way to compliment her outfit or welcome her back. During lunch, Riley found herself surrounded by a mix of old friends and new acquaintances. The conversation flowed easily, touching on summer adventures and expectations for the new school year. As she listened to her friends chat and laugh, Riley felt a warmth spread through her chest. This was what belonging felt like. The true test came during 6th period gym class. Riley had been dreading this moment all summer, knowing that changing in the girls' locker room would be a new and potentially uncomfortable experience. But as she hesitantly entered the locker room, she was immediately flanked by Megan and a few other girls from the volleyball team. "We've got your back," Megan murmured, giving Riley an encouraging smile. Their presence acted as a buffer, helping Riley feel more at ease as she changed into her gym clothes. She kept her eyes averted out of respect for her classmates' privacy, but she could sense their acceptance. No one stared or whispered or made her feel out of place. As they filed out onto the gymnasium floor, Riley caught sight of Tyler across the room. He gave her a thumbs up and a grin, which she returned with a grateful smile. It meant the world to her that he was still one of her biggest supporters, even as their relationship had evolved from best bros to something a little different, but no less meaningful. The gym teacher, Coach Martinez, blew her whistle to gather the class. "All right, everyone, we're starting the year off with a soccer unit. I want to see hustle out there." As they broke into teams, Riley felt a flutter of nerves. She'd always been athletic, but she was still adjusting to how her body moved and responded now. Would she be able to keep up? Her worries proved unfounded. As soon as the game began, muscle memory kicked in. Riley found herself darting between opponents, her footwork as nimble as ever. Her kicks might not have had quite the same power as before, but she made up for it with improved agility and precision. Halfway through the game, Riley managed to intercept a pass and broke away towards the goal. She could hear her teammates cheering her on as she dribbled past the defense. With a final burst of speed, she lined up her shot and sent the ball sailing past the goalkeeper's outstretched hands. The rush of exhilaration as her teammates mobbed her in celebration was unlike anything Riley had experienced before. It wasn't just about scoring a goal. It was about proving to herself that she could still excel, still be an athlete, still be part of a team, just in a different way than before. As they headed back to the locker rooms after class, Coach Martinez pulled Riley aside. "Nice workout there, Cooper," she said approvingly. "You've got some serious skills.
Have you considered trying out for the girls' soccer team? We could use someone with your talent."
Riley blinked in surprise.
She hadn't even thought about playing soccer competitively as a girl. I hadn't really considered it, she admitted. "Do you really think I could make the team?" Coach Martinez nodded firmly. Absolutely. You've got the skills and the drive. It'll take some adjusting, sure, but I think you'd be a great asset to the team. Think about it, okay?
As Riley showered and changed back into her dress, her mind was whirling with possibilities. Playing soccer again, being part of a team, it was something she'd thought she'd have to give up. But maybe, just maybe, she could have that part of her old life back, just in a new form. The final bell rang, signaling the end of the first day. As Riley gathered her things from her locker, she felt a tap on her shoulder. She turned to find Tyler leaning against the neighboring locker, a lopsided grin on his face.
So, how'd it go? He asked. Surviving your second first day of high school? Riley laughed, shaking her head. You know what? It was actually pretty great. Better than I expected. Tyler's grin widened. Told you so. You worry too much, Rye.
They fell into step together as they headed towards the exit, the familiar rhythm of their friendship as comfortable as ever. As they stepped out into the warm September afternoon, Riley took a deep breath, savoring the moment. Hey, Ty, she said softly. Thanks for sticking by me through all of this. I don't know if I could have done it without you. Tyler bumped his shoulder against hers affectionately. That's what friends are for, right? Besides, you're still you. Just a slightly different version. And honestly, I think I like this version even better. Riley felt a blush creep up her cheeks at his words. Their relationship had been evolving over the past few months, towing the line between friendship and something more. She wasn't quite sure where it was heading, but she was excited to find out. As they reached the parking lot, Riley spotted her mother's car waiting to pick her up. She turned to Tyler with a smile. Want to come over and play some video games? I bet I can still kick your butt at Mario Kart. Tyler laughed, his eyes sparkling with challenge. Oh, you're on, Cooper. Let's see if those dainty little hands can still work a controller. Riley punched him lightly on the arm, grinning. I'll show you, Dainty Larson. Prepare to eat my dust. As they climbed into her mother's car, trading friendly insults and laughter, Riley felt a sense of contentment wash over her. The road ahead might still have its challenges, but she was ready to face them. She was Riley Cooper, daughter, friend, athlete, artist, and so much more. And she was finally truly comfortable in her own skin. The autumn days flew by in a whirlwind of classes, sports practices, and social activities. Riley found herself busier than ever, juggling her academic responsibilities with her newfound passions. She'd taken Coach Martinez's advice and tried out for the girls' soccer team, earning a spot as a starting midfielder. The thrill of being back on the field, competing at a high level, was indescribable. One crisp October afternoon, Riley was sprinting down the field during a crucial match against their school's biggest rivals. The score was tied with only minutes left in the game. She could hear the crowd cheering from the sidelines, the pounding of her heart matching the rhythm of her feet on the grass. A teammate passed her the ball, and Riley saw her opening. She dribbled past one defender, then another, her movements fluid and precise. The goal was in sight. She pulled back her leg and let the ball fly, watching with bated breath as it soared through the air. Time seemed to slow as the ball arced towards the goal. The goalkeeper leapt, fingers outstretched, but it was just out of reach. The net rippled as the ball found its mark, and the crowd erupted in cheers. Riley was immediately swarmed by her teammates, their excited voices washing over her in a wave of jubilation. As they lifted her onto their shoulders, chanting her name, she caught sight of her parents in the stands. Her mother was on her feet, clapping and cheering, while her father stood beside her, a look of unmistakable pride on his face. In that moment, everything else fell away. The lingering doubts, the occasional discomfort, the fear of not belonging, none of it mattered. Riley was exactly where she was meant to be, doing what she loved, surrounded by people who supported her. As the team made their way back to the locker room after the game, still riding high on their victory, Riley felt a tap on her shoulder. She turned to see Jade, grinning from ear to ear. "Girl, that was amazing! Jade exclaimed, pulling Riley into a quick hug. "We have got to celebrate. Sleep over at my place this weekend? We can do face masks and watch cheesy rom-coms and dish about cute boys." Riley hesitated for a moment. She'd been to a few sleepovers since her transition, but they still felt a bit foreign to her. Part of her worried that she was somehow intruding on a sacred female ritual she hadn't earned the right to participate in. Sensing her hesitation, Jade's expression softened. "Hey, no pressure if you're not comfortable. I just thought it might be fun. Plus, I need your advice on how to ask out that cute guy from my art class." Riley felt a warmth bloom in her chest at Jade's casual inclusion. "No, you're right. It does sound fun. Count me in." Jade squealed in delight, clapping her hands together. "Yes! Okay, be at my place at 7 on Friday and bring those adorable pajamas you wore last time. I'm totally stealing that look." As Jade bounced away to spread the news to the other girls, Riley couldn't help but smile. These were the moments that made her feel truly accepted, truly part of this world she'd found herself in. Later that evening, as Riley was finishing up her homework, she heard a knock at her bedroom door. "Come in," she called, spinning her desk chair around. Her father entered, looking slightly awkward but determined. "Hey, kiddo, got a minute?" Riley nodded, curious. Her relationship with her father had been slowly improving, but they still had moments of discomfort and uncertainty. Her father cleared his throat, fiddling with something in his hands. I wanted to give you something. After seeing you play today, well, I realized I've been holding on to this for too long." He held out his hand, revealing a small velvet box. Riley took it, her brow furrowed in confusion. As she opened it, her breath caught in her throat. Inside was a delicate silver charm bracelet, the same one her grandmother had given to her mother on her 16th birthday. "Dad," Riley whispered, her eyes filling with tears. Are you sure?" Her father nodded, his own eyes suspiciously moist. "It's a family tradition, passing it down to the women in our family. And you, Riley, you're my daughter. It's time you had this." With trembling hands, Riley lifted the bracelet from the box. Her father stepped forward, gently taking it from her and fastening it around her wrist. The cool metal felt like a promise, a connection to generations of women she was now part of. "It looks good on you," her father said gruffly, clearing his throat. "Your grandmother would be proud." Riley stood, throwing her arms around her father in a tight hug. "Thank you, Dad," she murmured into his shoulder. "This means everything to me." As her father hugged her back, a bit awkwardly but with genuine affection, Riley felt another piece of her new life click into place. She was Riley Cooper, daughter, athlete, friend, and now part of a legacy of strong women. And she was ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead, secure in the knowledge that she was exactly who she was meant to be. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to check out my other socials if you want more wonderful content, early access, behind the scenes, and more. All links down below.